What's up, everybody? This is Chad at Endless Potential. Welcome back. Today I wanted to go over how to lean bulk properly and what is dirty bulking, because there is a difference between the two. So let's dive straight into it. So anytime that we're going to be in a bulk, which is going to be a calorie surplus, which means we're eating more than what is required for our current body weight, there's two different ways you can do it, which I just mentioned. You have a lean bulk and then you have a dirty bulk. So the only thing separating the two is really the quality of food and the amount of calories that you're intaking, but the outcome is going to be pretty big and substantial compared between the two. So what do I mean by this? What I'm talking about is, let's say you're 200 pounds and you want to get to about 220. So we're going to break that down into about a 12 to 15 week period. So we're gaining roughly about a pound a week or more, roughly about 1.25, something like that. And so we don't want to be going too crazy. We don't want to definitely be gaining no more than 2 pounds a week, because that's going to be excessive and really, really fast for a lean bulk. And so here's the key. Let's say you're 200 pounds and your daily intake to maintain is going to be about 2,900 calories or 3,000 calories, somewhere in there. All we're going to do is either increase it by 250 or 500. And so the reason we're going to do that is because we just want to put our body into a state that's barely above what is required so we can gain the weight slowly. We want to keep control of it the entire time. Now, how do you find what your maintenance calories are? So the easiest way to do it is just go to Google or any search engine and search TDEE calculator. What a TDEE calculator is a total daily expenditure calculator. All it's going to do is give you a rough idea off of generic calculated numbers for age, height, gender, all that stuff, right? Activity level. It's pretty basic, and it's just a starting point. It's going to spit out a number to you when you put it in. I'll link one down in the description that I've used before, and they tend to be a rough ballpark. They're pretty accurate. You may have to adjust it just a little bit. As long as you're being 100%, confident in your answers, I'm working out pretty consistently for this amount of days, it'll give you a ballpark. The main thing is you now have a starting point. It says that you have a daily intake of 3,000 calories. That's what you need to just maintain. Now, what you're going to do is you need to verify that number, because that's just a generic number. So I usually say for 2 weeks, eat those calories, no more, no less, as consistent as possible. That's the main thing. The calories have to be consistent. And then from there, second importance is going to be 1 gram per pound of body weight, or what you want your body weight to be. So if you're 200 and you want to go to 220, I actually recommend keeping the grams at 200, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Now, what happens is we stay consistent for a week or two. The first week, we don't really count because your body's going to be adjusting to the food intake difference. If you've been kind of eating sporadically, now we need a baseline. So the first week, we don't really count. That's just going to be you getting into the groove. The second week, you're going to start actually tracking. You should see the scale move at least a pound to 2 pounds because it's been 2 weeks. If you get on the scale in 2 weeks and you say, oh, like I have not gained any weight since the start, then you know that the TDE calculator is pretty accurate. 3,000 calories is your maintenance calories. Now what we're going to do from there is bump it up at 250 to 500 calories. And I would recommend starting on the smaller side, the 250 calories, just because this is going to be a lean bulk. And so we're not wanting to put on a ton of unnecessary body weight. And now we have our maintenance calories determined. Now, the reason I say that I would keep the grams of protein to what you already are currently weighing is because when it comes to performance in the gym and putting on muscle, carbohydrates are going to be a necessity. The protein is going to be the building blocks for whenever you do all the muscle damage in the gym to maintain and grow what you already have to continue to go farther. But what you're actually using in the gym to get through a workout is carbohydrates. And so whenever I'm trying to gain weight, I actually keep protein roughly the same, and I try to increase the carbohydrates and I keep the fats pretty consistent throughout, regardless of if I'm cutting weight or if I'm gaining weight. So if I'm in a calorie deficit or if I'm in a calorie surplus, my fats usually stay pretty consistent. I keep a healthy amount in as much as I can, unless I'm trying to really drop weight. And if I have to bring the fats down, then I have to bring them down. Carbohydrates when you're gaining weight is a huge deal. I would definitely recommend that if you're going to add 250 calories in, try to get the extra carbs in as much as you can. And there will be a point whenever the weight starts to move, let's say about 5 pounds to 10 pounds. So when you go from 200 to 205, then I would just kind of slide your calories up a little bit. And then I would also bring the protein up a little bit, but I wouldn't do it for every single pound. But the carbohydrates definitely I would increase right off the bat. That would be a big game changer for you, especially if you haven't been tracking your carbs. And so when it comes to this, we've now got a baseline. We've now got a decent calorie and protein intake. We've talked about increasing the carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to nutrition, we need to bring in quality. Quality food is king. We don't want to be eating out. I have a video coming out on that here soon, discussing the difference between a fries and an actual potato, stuff like that. There's a big difference between the two, even though they're made from the same source. When we talk about carbs, we're talking about healthy carbs, oats, sweet potato, regular potatoes, white rice, brown rice, these type of things. We don't want a ton of quick digesting carbs unless you're going to take them before your workout. And so what that means is like breads, processed flours, because those are very, very quick digesting. Simple carbohydrates like sugar, we always want to really be careful with that. And if we're going to use it, it's not a bad thing. There's no such thing as really a negative carb in a sense. It's just we don't want to have our blood sugar spike and then crash, because that causes you to have high energy, low energy outputs. It makes you feel like you're getting groggy. And what we want to do is if we're going to put something like that in there anywhere in the diet, it needs to be right before a workout in a relatively close time frame, about an hour. That way you can get that really good high blood sugar spike. You get the increase in the carbohydrates in the bloodstream, which converts to glycogen. And that's what you use in the muscle when you're working out to get the pumps to help you get through a workout and help you with strength. So, high quality carbs. Now, high quality protein as well. That means if you can stick to whole foods, stick to whole foods. You can kind of play around with it and see how your body handles things. This is all going to be kind of an experiment for you, right? You got to see how your gut does, if you cause bloating. How do you handle red meat? How do you handle fish? How do you handle chicken? And stuff like that. I like to keep a good moderation of all of them, at least within the week. So maybe I might have salmon 2-3 times a week. I'll have red meat 2-3 times a week. And I try to have fish at least twice a week. I eat chicken pretty consistently. And then also eggs. Eggs are a very, very good source of protein. And so you can find ways to get protein in. You can do fat-free milk if you're having a hard time hitting your protein goals because you're always feeling super full. Fat-free milk is going to keep the calories low because fats have 2 times more calories than protein does per gram. And so fat-free milk will keep the calories down, easily digestible, easy to get in. That's what I would use as a last resort if you're having a very difficult time getting to the point of getting that protein in daily. And then from there, it's just about consistency. So now you've got an idea of where your calories are at. Now you've got an idea of high quality food. And from here on out, and same thing with fats as well. Fats, healthy fats, olive oil, real butter occasionally, and stuff like that. Fish oil, those kind of things. Those are really, really healthy fats. We really want to stay away from stuff like potato chips and stuff like that that has a ton of trans fat in it. That's not very, very good for you. And so we can dive into that in a different video. But pretty much just think of high quality sources of food at any point you can, and if you can afford it. Because there's nothing like investing into yourself, and over the long term, you're going to see the actual results of putting your health first day in, day out, right? You start to respect your body, and you start to take care of it, and you're going to feel a difference pretty quickly. So now it's about consistency, like I was saying. Day in, day out. Now you need to not be skipping your training. Now you need to be making sure your sleep is on point. because your sleep is when you're recovering. It's when you're releasing a natural growth hormone, which is just reoccurring in your body as you sleep. So you need to have high quality sleep. That way you can have your body recover for the next workout. Overtraining and DOMS is not the same thing, and we'll dive into that here in a second. A lot of people confuse the fact that they stay sore for a few days as overtraining, but it's really just a combination of delayed onset muscle soreness and not being used to working out hard for a long period of time. And then additionally, just being able to get through the workload that you're doing, and then your body will eventually adapt. So overtraining is whenever you get to the point where weeks and weeks and weeks you're missing weight, you're not having any muscle gains, you're not seeing any body changes in a positive way that you're wanting, and you're starting to have a hard time with mind muscle connection, getting good contractions. You just constantly feel fatigued all day long. And I'm not talking about like just because you had a hard workout that morning and now you're just struggling through the day. I'm talking like it's been your rest day, you're coming back and you're still not recovered. And you can tell a difference over time as you get more and more involved and you stay more in tune with your body, the difference between delayed onset muscle soreness and overtraining. But we got to push it. We got to push the training. We got to make sure we're getting the food in, and we got to have high quality sleep. This is how you're going to do a proper lean bulk. The only difference between a lean bulk and a dirty bulk is the quality of food and the amount of calories. Usually people end up eating a lot of processed food, the exact opposite of everything we've been talking about. And what ends up happening is they've overdone it. And a lot of people are kind of shocked by the fact that you don't have to have a ton of more calories than what you're already eating. It just needs to be about 250 to 500 more. If you're eating 3,000 calories and you say, oh, I'm starting in bulk tomorrow, and then you jump all the way to 5,000, 6,000 calories, it is going to put a lot of unnecessary body weight on you that you're not really wanting. And so do it smart. You hit the 12 to 15 weeks, 10 to 15 weeks, however long you can go for. And then you do a deload, you reevaluate. You say, okay, did I make progress? You look at the weight on the scale. You kind of look at some pictures of yourself. Take one every week, not flexing. First thing in the morning when you're most depleted, and just keep tracking it. Keep tracking it. And it's the same thing for when you're in a deficit. And I'll do another video on that as well. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That is the biggest thing you can do. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to put out high quality content for you. If there's anything you want, drop it in the comments. I definitely read them and I will respond. Additionally, I'm also an ambassador of TuffWraps. And so if you need anything like knee sleeves, elbow sleeves, wraps, straps, lifting belts, anything like that, we know this stuff works. You can go to TuffWraps. It'll be in the description and in the comments below. Use potential 10 at checkout and a discount code, and it'll give you 10% off. It won't let you double stack. So if they've already got something going on, go ahead and grab a bundle deal or whatever it is they have happening at this time. I'll see you guys on the next one.